everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Gary. Hope you've all had a good week. Hope you've all had a good weekend. And I hope, fingers crossed, that the internet stays connected today, because last week was a bit of a disaster. Hope you're all doing well. Great to have you with us. You can see, actually, I've managed to squeeze the chat onto the actual video this time around, so it's going to help now. I can possibly only look at one area. But yeah, few things to cover tonight. Quite a few surprising newses coming out in regards to threats by UEFA, for one, is probably the big thing. Obviously, we're looking ahead to England versus Finland on the 13th of October. Ashley Cole's appointment as well as the full-time coach. So plenty to get through. Mr. Pizza Delivery, he put on earlier, thank you for your comment much earlier. So did you know that England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland don't get automatic qualification to Euro 2028? These are all the Euro's host nations in 2028. Yeah, I did sort of know that, because it would be a lot, wouldn't it, to guarantee all those nations an automatic qualification. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we'll come on to Euro 2028, because by the looks of it, it may not even happen still. So, I mean, it should do, but there's a lot going off, isn't there? The two best host nations that don't qualify make it to Euro 2028, says Mr. Pizza Delivery. Matt's channel, hi there, Gary. Hi, Matt. Good to have you with us. Gate 102 podcast. Evening, Gary. Hope you're recovering well. Thank you so much, mate. Hope your podcasts are doing well. I did have a listen to one of them the other day. Very good. Again, check those out. Nice, short, sweet episodes on Gareth Southgate's reign as England manager, going through each individual game. So some good memories there. Looking forward to some of them coming later. Dylan, Gary the Goat. No, Dylan, you are the Goat, my friend. Thank you for joining me. Josh, evening. War Lion, evening. Charlie, good evening. Stan896, good evening. So, how is everybody? I mean, it's been an interesting week. I think this news. Let's hit straight off with this news from UEFA. Obviously, I mean, for anyone who's living under a rock, and I know I don't often talk about club football, should I say? Let me get my words out. I don't often talk about club football, but obviously there's an independent regulator that the UK government are wanting to bring in. And the key word there is independent. It is not a government regulator. I mean, they're there from a government perspective, but they are independent of the Premier League and the government. So it's not really government interference. However, having said that, UEFA have come out this weekend and said, if the government pushes ahead with this, it could potentially risk, and this is the hilarious thing, it could potentially risk England being a part of Euro 2028. Now, the last time I looked, it's our party. We are hosting it. I know it's a joint bid between Northern Ireland, Casement Park. That's now gone down the pan because the UK government aren't backing that, so that's not going to be built. So it looks like it's going to be between England, Wales and Scotland. And the last time I looked, all but two stadiums are in England. So the idea that it would go ahead without us is just laughable. It's just absolutely laughable. It won't happen. It's also not the government being involved. It's an independent regulator. And I think it needs it. I think English football needs it. We all know football lives in a bit of a bubble. You know, clubs literally going year in, year out, full on debt. But anyway, there's potential repercussions for Euro 2028. Obviously, that may mean that England don't end up hosting it. We're only 4 years away. I mean, to ask another country to step in now would be a huge, huge problem. But I think this is a bit of a non-story. I think this is a shot across the bow, as it were, from UEFA. But I think football's got bigger fish to fry. And I think this independent regulator will come into effect. And it'll be the best thing that could happen to English football, really. So, but it was interesting, UEFA's taking. You just think, you know what, UEFA, do one. How dare you? How dare you come to us and start giving it all the big in? It's just a joke. Stanners has put appointment for Ashley and for England. He knows exactly what is to be expected. Also a good appointment. Yeah, absolutely, mate. I think the more you've got players who've been there, done that. Obviously, one of those Centurions. We all know he's a fantastic defender in his time. I think he's a good member of the backroom staff there for Lee Carsley. I remember Gareth Southgate once said that he would rather go through the qualifiers than qualify automatically. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, it's not going to affect England, is it? It's not. I mean, the amount of teams that get to the Euros anyway, I think, is it the top two that qualify automatically plus obviously the UEFA Nations League playoffs, plus the third place play. I mean, everyone in the dog and duck is at the Euros, so it's almost impossible that England won't be there. I mean, it is impossible. I'm calling it now. England will qualify. It's not so much of a skin off our back. It will be more. I mean, Northern Ireland might not be hosting it now, but it would be more for a team like Northern Ireland, who you think probably should be given a spot the same way every other country would. And I've got no problems at all with England having to qualify for the Euros. We all saw what happened with Germany when they were waiting for the Euros to come around. They were playing just meaningless friendlies all the time and then getting beat, and people were calling them crap, and then there was panic. And I'd rather just play a group game and go through the normal process, really. Evening, Gary. Evening, mate. Great to have you with me tonight. As a football fan, surely Keir Starmer would make sure England are allowed, even if he has to get things to change. Well, the thing is, it's out of Keir Starmer's hands, really, isn't it? It's got nothing to do with Keir Starmer. The UEFA Euros, it's up to UEFA if they decide. The problem is if you have got 4 countries hosting the Euros, obviously you can't have 4 countries that automatically qualify. I mean, well, you could, if we're being realistic, but at the end of the day, England are going to be there. Scotland and Wales. I mean, Wales at the minute are in a real state. There'd be no guarantee they'd qualify at the minute. So I think for some of these other nations, they might be thinking, well, hang on a minute, what are we getting out of this? Because at the minute, all it's going to do is cost us an absolute fortune, and we might not even be there. And you've got to have a host country at the Euros, for goodness sake. But I don't know. I just think England should have gone into this Euros independent anyway. I think they did it jointly to make it look a more of attractive offer to UEFA, because we all know they like to bring new countries in. In the end, though, everybody pulled out and it was only left with our bid. So if England had have just gone in on their own, would have been absolutely fine. So it is one of those, really, where you just think we should have just gone in on ourselves. Dylan, this means we'll make a back-to-back Euros final since we host. Tom Briscoe says, evening, Gary. Evening, mate. Match channel, Wales are improving with Craig Bellamy, to be fair. Let's see if it's enough. I mean, they're coming from a long way. They're coming from a long way. A solo Turkey tournament would have been fun, says Match. Yeah, I just think, I mean, we all saw, I was going to say how good the Euros was in the summer, and it wasn't, was it? It was a really poor tournament, and it wasn't. In fact, I was just about to say it wasn't because of the host, but for those England fans that went out there, and I know there's probably some in the chat, depending on where you went to watch these England games at the Euros, some of the planning that went into that Euros were a disgrace. Fans weren't getting out of the ground until hours after the match. Public transport was a joke. I was going to start off by saying how good it is having a one host of a tournament, but I think Germany left much to be improved on and off the pitch. I mean, they can't help anything on it. The quality just wasn't there, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, England, let's be honest, England could host the Euros tomorrow, couldn't they? With the stadium we've got, London could arguably almost host the Euros on its own. So yeah, it's just, let's see where it's going to develop. But this Euro 2028 has really developed in different ways. First, the announcement of the Northern Ireland Casement Park not being built because it's now going to cost. I mean, where they get these numbers from, I think, was it 200-300 million initially? Now it's like 700 million for a 30,000 seater stadium because of UEFA's demand in terms of what it. I mean, it's just a joke. Where did they get these numbers from? How is a 40,000 seater stadium costing 600-700 million pounds and trebling in the space of 6 months? It's just ridiculous. I don't know who is in charge of planning these things or running these things. It's just a bit embarrassing, really. I'm just going to adjust my seat because I'm a little bit lower. There we go. So yeah, it's. So first there was an announcement in Casement Park. So obviously Northern Ireland are incredibly, scratching their head at the minute and feeling a bit sorry for themselves. There is obviously other stadiums in Northern Ireland. Whether they can host the Euros, it's not looking likely. So maybe another ground comes in, or maybe they don't use another ground. I don't know if they can run it with the stadium that have already been selected. I don't know. There's work still to be done on that front, isn't there? And then obviously, with the news that UEFA are now wading in on this independent regulator, which is weird because this has been ongoing for a while now, and it's almost through the door, isn't it? It's basically there. So it's an odd one. It's a real odd one, and UEFA is going to cause themselves all sorts of problems. And it's probably the surefire way to set off the Super League again, really. So, Matt, I know you could say the Euro 2024 organisers, such as with the trams, buckled under the pressure. Yeah, I mean, there was loads of talk, wasn't there, about fans that were out there saying it was just horrendous. Not in all grounds, not in all matches, but I know some of the England fans in particular were 3-4 hours after the match getting out. So, yeah, there's a lot that goes into playing the Euros outside of having a stadium. But, yeah. They better not pull out on Euro 28. Main reason I signed up to the European Supporters Travel Club. I'll be honest. Well, yeah. I mean, I think if you see the European Supporters Travel Club, they do release the numbers, and I think they are pretty high now. I do think though. I mean, I don't know. It depends on the allocation, doesn't it? You would expect a lot of people will be able to get tickets now if you've signed up now, but like the Finland game, very quickly coming on to the Finland game. I think there was a statistic going around where if you had to have been to every single England game almost for the past 4 to 6 years to be guaranteed a ticket for Finland away because the allocation was so small. So we know for away games it's still pretty tight. I don't know what the allocation is going to be for a home tournament. Let's say if England are at Wembley, and obviously we all know what Wembley can host, 90,000. How many of those? I mean, will every single member on the ESTC who's been a member for a couple of years be guaranteed a ticket? I don't know. I mean, usually they only give like 90,000 seater stadium. They'd probably only give 20,000 to England fans usually, and 5,000 to away fans, and then 50-odd thousand to corporate. So God knows. Three Lions podcast. Russell, nice to have you with me, mate. Seems that Windsor Park, Belfast isn't big enough for a tournament. Yeah, it's interesting what they're going to do. I mean, I'll be honest with you. It's either we're all in it, or for me, just England host it. I think it was quite nice that a UK-wide tournament was going to happen with Northern Ireland. It would seem a little bit unfair, and this is coming from an Englishman, that if we hosted a tournament that Northern Ireland would miss out because the UK government wouldn't fund the stadium. It would seem very harsh, and as a Northern Ireland fan, I'd be really, really disappointed. So it would seem incredibly harsh, but I don't know. There just doesn't seem to be a solution to it, does there? Because the cost is just outrageous for that ground that they're wanting to build. I mean, outrageous. Almost the price. It wouldn't be far off what Wembley cost. I know Wembley cost, it's 20-odd years ago whenever it was built, but you think, come on, what is going off? The world's on its arse. We'll be at Euro 2028, love us or hate us. UEFA needs us. Well, I don't know about needs. I think they would cut the nose off to spite the face, but we'll be there. I think we'll be there. I don't know. I just think the irony of it actually being called an independent regulator, and UEFA are saying it's like government involvement when you've got clubs being run by Arab states daily is just laughable, absolutely laughable. So fuck off, UEFA, get a grip, stay out of our business, and I think this will be the best thing that can happen to English football, because football is just, I mean, this is why I particularly love international football. I know it's the same players, but clubs are just, they're so far beyond the average fan, aren't they? And so far beyond reality in any aspect at all. So yeah, I just think something needs to change before the thing implodes, and it will do. It will do. I'm surprised COVID didn't. Remember when COVID was happening, everyone was being furloughed, and there's footballers still picking up the 80 grand a week, and the secretary is having to take an 80% furlough. But it's just ridiculous. Football's a joke. It needs sorting out. Government, for me, crack on with it. More regulation, the better for football, I think, because it's just been a world on its own for too long. Apparently someone said they'd give about 15% for the allocation at Wembley, so you'd probably have been in the top 9,000 England fans to be guaranteed a ticket at Wembley for Euro 2028. And there's my point. I mean, whether that's true or not, but 15% does not surprise me for a home tournament. 90,000 seats, it does not surprise me. So even if you have signed up to the European England Supporters Travel Club now, you may not be guaranteed a ticket for Euro 2028, possibly, with the numbers that have signed up. You need to be going to games and going regular, particularly the home ones. I know it's pot luck if you can get to those away ones when you're starting out, but you've got to get building up if you want those tickets. There'll be an absolute influx after this next round, after the next round of Travel Club membership. Yeah, will it be next year? I don't know. But after the next round, the numbers will keep going up now, and people will be signing up 3 months before thinking they're going to guarantee themselves a ticket for the Euros. It's a joke. But yeah, I mean, it's a good system. I like the system. I think on the whole, it's relatively fair. But people underestimate how early you've got to be building your caps up to be guaranteed tickets. Match channel, although I'm barely on double figures on caps, at least I'm in a far better position than most people to support England at the next. Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Those extra caps, mate, will come in handy and you go to the other games. They'll soon add up. Three Lions podcast, I'd agree with that. Need to get our own house in order. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, who knows where it leads to? It may lead to nothing. It may just lead to... I don't know. It may end up leading to the bigger clubs actually pulling away. It might be their excuse that they do actually end up using to pull away or whatever. Something in the next 10 years in English football or in European football is going to change dramatically. This may be the catalyst for it. This may be a catalyst against it. I don't know, but something needs to change. Josh Phillip, yeah, exactly that. This is why I've started caring more about my League One club, Exeter, than United. You feel a lot closer to smaller clubs, especially ones like Exeter, whose fan don't. Exactly my point, mate. Exactly my point. Could not have said it better myself, my friend. And we all know, if you look at the statistics and figures for lower league football, people are going out and watching lower league football because they're detached from... The clubs do not represent their communities in which they operate. I mean, I'm in Derby County, Championship side, by no means a multi-billionaire club, but they do not represent the city I live in at all, or the fans really in the stands. So it's just... Yeah, grassroots, there's so much about it in there, and this is why I like international football, but you guys don't need to know that. We're all in the same boat. We all love international football, don't we? I signed up to go to the Qatar, but I'm up for staying for the Euros, says Matt's channel. Oh, what, you're actually going to go to Qatar during the Euros in 20... I mean, you've booked that early, if you are. I would like England to play in 3 different venues in the Euros group stage. I don't know if they will. I doubt that'll happen. I think all of England's games will probably be at Wembley, if we're being honest. Who knows, though? Who knows? But obviously, England, the next international break for England is relatively soon, actually. So we wait a long time, and then in, 4 weeks, 3-4 weeks, England are back in action early October against Finland and Greece. So we've got Finland at home and Greece away. I've got that right, haven't I? No. Greece at home, Finland away. Got it. I knew I got it the wrong way round. So Finland, 13th of October. Greece, is it the 10th? 3 days before? I think so. Yeah, Thursday night. Looking forward to those. I mean, England now should take control. I mean, if we haven't already, these 2 games will ensure we take control of this group. 2 more wins, then I think it's job done. See you later. We've all been happy with Lee Carsley and the performance of this England team. I know it was a little bit slow, wasn't it, against the finish at Wembley? But we played, I mean, in terms of domination, we dominated the play. We dominated the ball. I'd like to see us get a few more, but look, it's job well done. It's really, really is job well done. And I think England are in a great place in this group. And I'm looking forward to seeing England again so soon after this last set of fixtures because, you know me, more England games, the better. If we win all Nations League games end of November, do we go to Group A in time for World Cup draw? So what happens is, because the World Cup draw is based on FIFA rankings and I think the Nations League. I mean, I think if you finish in the top pots of the League A Nations League, you get top seeded. And if you're in the top 4 European nations or something like that, we are guaranteed top seeds for the World Cup draw, more or less, because of our FIFA ranking. I think, what are we, 4th in the world now, 4th or 5th? We are guaranteed to be top seeds, I think, or there. I mean, yeah, no, we are. With the games we've got left to play, we are guaranteed top seeds for the World Cup draw. So I've got no worries about that at all. That's what I love. That's what I love about Exeter, says Josh Phillips. They are one of the few real community clubs left. Absolutely, mate. Match channel. I mean, I signed up so I could have a strong shot at going to Qatar in 2022, which I was successful with. Okay, I'm with you now, mate. I'm with you. I thought you meant you were signed up to go to Qatar for Euro 2028. I'm thinking, why? I read we're almost guaranteed to be seeded for World Cup qualifiers, said Tom Briscoe. Yeah, just what I was saying, mate. Yeah, absolutely. Because of our FIFA rankings, really, which is great because the World Cup, even though it is being expanded and there is going to be different avenues again, and it's going to be it's still harder to qualify for the World Cup than what it is for the Euros. We know it's expanding to 48 teams now at the next World Cup, so there are more places available, but not a huge amount more for European nations. But we know, essentially, you've got to top your group, really, in Europe to guarantee your qualification. So being top seed is important for the World Cup. It really is. Nozza, I was surprised how crap Ireland was. Yeah, they were terrible, weren't they, mate? Terrible. The occasion, it felt like... Remember when... let me know actually how the stream is doing today, everyone, because I know last week it was an absolute disaster with my internet. No idea why. Just let me know if the video and audio is okay. No one's saying anything, so I assume it is, but be good to know. Yeah, I think, just like I'm going back to Ireland, the way Ireland played was the same way I felt the Scottish treated us when they played the occasion more than the actual match. So I just feel like it got to the head. I mean, the fans were proper up for it, weren't they, like the Scots? It was all bit of a focus on Rice and Grealish, and we just dominated them. It was beautiful. It was beautiful. I mean, the fact is, in the last 12 months, or just over 12 months now, because it was just over a year ago since we went to Scotland, and I know we're miles ahead of them, but going to Scotland and Ireland away and winning comfortably, and I know we take this for granted, but even beating Finland, even beating Greece, it's just like, I mean, hopefully we will beat Greece, not played them yet, but we didn't used to beat these teams that routinely. We really didn't. I mean, it was just before Southgate, if you remember, when Iceland knocked us out the Euros. So I think we do still take it for granted how good England are now. I really do mean that. I genuinely mean that. I know the criticism after the Finnish game was, look who England are playing, it's Finland and Ireland. But look, in the past, and for the majority of my life, teams like this would have still have given England a game or a challenging night. And it's just the manner in which we're dispatching these teams now and playing. We're at another level now, and that's because of where Southgate has took us. And it's about staying there. It really is. Josh Phillips, thinking of signing up for the ESTC. Desperately want to get tickets for 2028. And must be best chance of doing it, mate. Josh, do it. Do it now, mate. I mean, you've missed three games. 2 home games, so that's 4 caps, 6 caps you could have potentially got in these 3 games. You need to do it, mate. If you want to get it, do it now. It's only just renewed. Like I said, you have still already missed some games, but you'll catch the last end of these Nations League games, and then obviously some World Cup qualifiers as well. So just sign up, mate. If you want to go, just sign up. Gate 102 stream working fine. Thank you so much, mate. Really useful to know. Thanks, Matt. Nozza, Gary, the real taste is when we play a decent side going to be interesting. Yeah, I agree with that. I 100% agree that we don't truly know in terms of our capabilities. I'm talking about, though, how we play in these type of games where in the past we haven't. I mean, England historically have always qualified relatively well under, apart from obviously under McLaren. England have qualified well for tournaments in qualification campaigns. We've always done pretty well. But I've just remembered the days when... Ukraine were giving us games at home, and Poland were, and these sorts of teams that were sitting around the 2030 mark in the FIFA rankings and stuff like that, and we just look so comfortable now. I mean, other teams physically cannot get the ball off us. And I just think we've taken that step up. The difference is, and this is where the answer's now out on Southgate in terms of him being able to beat better opposition. I mean, you've got to say that he struggled. That's fair. I mean, as much as I love Southgate, the facts are now is that he could not beat the big nations when it mattered. They are the facts. There's no doubt now England have the ability and talent to do so. It's now over to Lee Carsley. Can he get us over that line? Gate 102, you can only beat what's in front of you at the end of the day, which is why I can't understand when people say it's only Finland and Ireland. I know, mate, and that's sort of my point. That is sort of my point. You can only beat what is in front of you. You really can. So it's... Yeah, I'm happy with what I've seen. It's the manner in which we've played as well is probably what I'm getting at more than the result. I mean, the result arguably did always used to come, but it's the manner in which we've played these teams. And I think England are playing well. I mean, looking at Lee Carsley, he started well. Obviously, Ashley Cole then has been announced this weekend as a full-time coach for the England setup. And I was talking to Russell, who's in the stream tonight, actually, about the backroom staff, because obviously there was Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank there before, wasn't there, under Southgate, and obviously Steve Holland, blah, 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 blah. So I need to have a look actually in terms of who's actually now back in this backroom staff, who's Lee Carsley's group, and obviously Ashley Cole's now one of them. We know that. But it's interesting, this new setup. I think Ashley Cole's a great appointment. I really do. He's got the experience. I think he'll get on well with the players. I think he'll be a good people person with those some of the younger players. I just think, yeah, he's a good appointment. You can't disregard the experience he's had, particularly playing for his country as well. So he'll understand the pressures and everything like that. So yeah, it's a good appointment for England, and I think it can only lead us in one way. Nozza, why didn't Southgate play Gordon in the Euros? Yeah, I know he's playing with, and Palmer. I mean, Palmer's not had a good start to the season really as Gordon, but yeah, I absolutely agree, mate. Gordon and Palmer should have been given more opportunities, but hindsight is a beautiful thing. Although I will say that a lot of people were calling for them to start anyway, but yeah, it's one of those. MK, if Carsley's still in charge around March when we have an international break and can plays team like Brazil, Belgium and wins, then we can say we're onto something good with him. Well, the problem is we'll know by Christmas. I think that's the original plan at the moment, that by Christmas they're making the mind up. I mean, there is reports in the press still saying that the FA are looking at other appointments. I mean, one of them that I saw in the group chat this week was Frank Lampard. I mean, just please, now, and I've got nothing against Frank Lampard, the same way if he came in as a backroom member of staff, brilliant. A bit like Ashley Cole brings that experience. The FA, I know for a fact no one from the FA is watching this, but if by any chance this gets back to anyone in the FA, for the love of God, do not appoint Frank Lampard as the head coach. Just give it Lee Carsley. Just give it Lee Carsley now. Everyone would be happy with it. It's worked, settling him the way, he's not a fashionable appointment, but just everyone's happy now. Just appoint him. Just get on with it. Matt's channel, Ashley Cole's an excellent appointment. Nozza, that Finland goalie was good. Yeah, he did have a good game. But just yeah, come on. We don't want Frank Lampard. I mean, I'm talking on behalf of everybody here. Someone may now start coming to the chat and disagree, but please just do not hire Frank Lampard as manager. His record is woeful as a manager. I love Southgate, but the way we've played in the Carsley shows. Oh, hang on a minute, I need to scroll up. Shows what a good chance. Good chance of us going into the World Cup unbeaten. So it shows how tactically he's levels above Southgate. Good chance. Yeah, I mean, someone did put with the games we've possibly got coming up, we could go unbeaten. Yeah, I definitely think that would. Definitely think I'll sign up soon. Says Josh. Definitely, mate, get signed up. Does this mean Cole will stay as staff even if England appoint a new manager? Yeah. Well. No, I don't necessarily believe so, because obviously if England appoint a new senior manager, it'll be up to him what backroom staff he brings in. It really would. But I think the FA's lining the ducks up here. I think it's pretty clear what they want to do. 3 lines, one thing with Cole. If Carsley doesn't get appointed and someone new comes in, what happens if they don't want Cole? Well, so the chat's ahead of me. Absolutely. But I think the writing's on the wall, isn't it, Russell? I think we all know why. They're not daft. They know exactly what they're doing. They've appointed him because they have every intention of giving Lee Carsley the role. And Lee Carsley is someone who I've wanted. I know Russell said he wanted him as manager. I know not everyone's cup of tea. Everyone doesn't want Lee Carsley as manager, but I think genuinely is the best appointment for England. And for me, I just want him to sign a permanent deal. I would be happy if it was done and dusted now. Matt's channel, Ashley's the best European left-back of all time. Yes, there's Maldini, and he's a better defender, but was also a good centre-back, out-and-out left-back. It's Ashley Cole. Okay. I understand that. He was a good player. I don't know if he's the greatest ever. Lampard, Jesus, says Nozza. Lampard will be better for under-19s or something like that. Or yeah, maybe. Or nowhere near it. I mean, yeah, maybe the youth system and then come through. I mean, him, Gerrard, none of them, just no. MK, but we won't have played anyone big by Christmas. We need to play one big European team and South American team. Yeah, I don't think we will. I don't think there isn't. There isn't a gap in the calendar, I don't think, for any friendlies, because that's what the UEFA Nations Leagues will be taking up. So, I hear you, and I think that will be the main thing in everybody's minds if he does get appointed full-time. If we've only played Greece, Finland and Ireland in that time, people will be saying, well, hang on a minute, who's he played to earn it? But you've just got to go off performances. You've just got to go off performances, and I wouldn't be disappointed if he was given the job. M0, Ruven Nistelrooy was a manager and he's now assistant at United, where I think it suits him better. No shame in being part of the backroom staff. No, absolutely. And Steve McLaren obviously went back to being an assistant manager. Matt's channel, I'm definitely Carsley in. Gate 102 podcast. Carsley was one of the first coaches to come through the England DNA scheme, so knows the vision and the players. And exactly. And there is no coincidence here. England's success has been absolutely in juxtaposition with Southgate's appointment, but also St. George's Park and what that idea of St. George's Park was, that English DNA that we heard them all talking about. And I know they had a big plan of us winning a tournament by this time, but we've got as close as we possibly can. St. George's Park, all that thing that they planned 15, probably now 10, 15 years ago, has worked. Well, 20 years ago, probably, when you go back to the planning phase. It has worked. St. George's Park, all this English DNA, developing a culture and a system of playing for your country across all the youth levels, across different... It's worked. It is 100% worked. That is why Lee Carrs is the best appointment, because it's a continuation of that. Trust in the process is what I'm saying. You bring in someone like Pep, you bring in someone different, you're chucking it all out. It's going all out the window. You're starting afresh. Why? When it's worked. We're a penalty shootout or the very fine margins away from winning a tournament at the minute. Just stick with it. Just stick with it for me. And I hope they do. Absolutely good point. Gate 102. Absolutely brilliant point. I used to do a video on St. George's Park, actually, and the impact, because I think people have forgotten about it. And I do think there's more there than what people are realising. Bagani, what club do you support? Everyone asks me this. Honestly... I don't really. I don't. I mean, growing up, I did like Man United. I've always had a soft spot for Sheffield Wednesday, because I grew up in a small town called Worksop, just outside Sheffield. So Worksop Town is one of them, but they're terrible. I think they're the third oldest football club in the world, Worksop Town, by the way. Little fact for you there. But they're not in a big league at all, and haven't been for a long time, or ever, even. But Worksop Town. But a lot of my friends like Sheffield Wednesday, so I've always had a bit of soft spot for them. And obviously now I'm living in Derby, and I've been living here for, 12 years. So I have got a soft spot for Derby County as well. But look, international football is where I am. It's very difficult. I find it really hard. I'm not saying I support all those 4 teams, by the way. I'm not one of them who's got like 4 teams. I'm just saying... These are the sort of clubs I like to see do well, but I don't really have a club team I support. I'm just international through and through, which is both annoying and weird, because I love football and I'd love to go and watch football more regular and watch a team I support more regular. I mean, how frustrating it is. Club fans go on about the international break. Imagine me. The only team I support plays 6 times a fucking year. I mean, it's so frustrating. I wish I had another sport, another team within football that I could really get behind the same way I do England. It is so frustrating. So, yeah, it is a bit of a curse, actually, supporting just England. It is a bit frustrating. But anyway, Ashley Cole's appointment, really good stuff. England, I just think, let's stick with Lee Carsley. Trust the system. Recruit him now for me. I'll be very surprised if the FA did go after somebody else. Like I said, the rumours are still there, but I would be very, very surprised, particularly if we play the same way we have been doing in these last few games in the Nations League. Batter this group, absolutely batter it. And yeah, I don't know what would have to happen, really, for us not to get it. I mean, unless we go to, like, I don't know. I mean, unless we go to Finland and unless we lose like 2 games on the bounce in the Nations League, I don't really know what would have to happen for Lee Carsley not to probably be favourite. I'm only an England fan. That's why I like this channel. Nozzer, brilliant stuff, mate. I mean, this is why I'm here now talking about it. It's not months. It's a month away till England's next game, and we're here now. I wish it was every Saturday. I had to look forward to England play. It's so frustrating. Earlier this year, I got less invested, I'm assuming it's meant to say, by my local team. I still support them, but I'm as through and through as I am with England. And even, what does that say? See, there's a little heart thing at the bottom of here, and it cuts it off, so I can't really see what it says. So I'll have to wait till it comes up. And even Porto, I believe it says. But yeah, it's Spain drew against Serbia, which is shocking. Yeah, but this is what England do, isn't it? We'll qualify, but then qualify, other teams struggle. Germany has a bad, build up to tournaments, blah 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 blah, and then when it comes down to it, we'll lose when it matters. That is England. That is the problem with England. It's no good as demolishing this UEFA Nations League or demolishing the World Cup joy if when we get there, we don't win the important matches. Speaking of the World Cup, and I'm trying not to cover it, if I'm honest with you, because the next decade of sport is going to be hell. It's going to be absolutely hell. We've got the Olympics, the football. Someone told me they've got the Rugby World Cup as well. All of it in America. Jesus Christ. I am not looking forward to this at all. I think it's going to be... I know it's America, US, Canada and Mexico that are joint hosting it, blah, 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 but I just can't wait for this World Cup to start and the US get knocked out, because it's ridiculous it's being hosted there again. They don't care about it, and those that do are just cringe. So I just can't bear it. They'll be loud, they'll be horrible, they'll be obnoxious. It'll be awful. It'll be absolutely awful. So let's just get on with it. The same as the Rugby World Cup. Why is it being hosted there? They don't even care. They do not even care. It'll just be full of bravado, full of crap. The chanting that I believe we can win. I know I'm going in a bit on Yanks here, and I apologise to any Americans in this channel. It's not Americans per se that I get frustrated with. It's the pushing football in America that I get frustrated with. So yeah, the sooner they go out, the better, and then the serious World Cup can start. It's going to be hell. All those tournaments being hosted, or all those sporting occasions being hosted in the US, it's just, it's going to be awful. It's going to be absolutely awful. Yeah, Josh, I believe that we will win. It's just, for God's sake. Women's Euros in Switzerland next year. Okay. That's interesting. I forgot about that, actually. I did know the Euros was coming up, but I forgot it was being hosted in Switzerland. That'd be good. Obviously, England women is the defending champions. Be covering that on this channel. Do some live streams. That'd be very good. Steve McCullough clearly was raised on football. Well, he's American with European heritage. Encore Football, hi. Hi, mate. Nice of you to join us. So we were just finished ranting on the US hosting the World Cup again. Not only that, the 48-team World Cup. And I know Americans and all other fans across the rest of the world will be absolutely delighted with this, because they're thinking, more teams get to play, blah, 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 blah. It's ridiculous. A 48-team World Cup is ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous. And I know there'll be the odd result here or there that'll be exciting. But let's be honest, come the knockout round, they've all gone home. It's just a bloated tournament. It's just 48 countries. 40. What's the point in having qualifying? Why not just have the World Cup with everybody there? How many more countries are left? I know there's a lot more. But yeah, it's just, come on. Who wants a 48-team World Cup? With Ash Cole leaving Brum, it looks like Carsley's likely to become full-time. Yeah, absolutely, mate. I think he is. We were just talking about that. And I was saying I'd have him now. I'd have him as the England manager right now. I'd rather FIFA bring back some version of Confederations Cup as a qualification round of nations outside of Europe. I reckon the 2027 World Cup would be more exciting than 2026. Well, with 48 teams, it's going to stink. Hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I just can't see it. It's just going to be, there's so many teams there to make up the numbers, Russell, with statues of liberties coming in. But I don't know. As you can tell, I am not looking forward to it. I just not. But who knows? It could be America. England could be lifting the World Cup in America. I'm not bothered where we lift it. I couldn't give a damn. It doesn't mean anything to me, but I suppose it'd be all right, wouldn't it, lifting it in the US? I think they've already announced where the final's going to be played. Is it going to be in New York? I'm pretty sure the final's already going to be in New York. I could be wrong there, but I seem to have read that. At this point, the 48-team World Cup will be more of an Olympic vibes. Can't say I get excited watching the gals playing unless it's England, to be fair. No, I agree, Encore, but I think the Euros will be good. Obviously, defending champions, we've got to watch that. Spain are going to be the team to beat again. Bloody Spain. 2 World Cups. Well, sorry, 2 finals they've beat us in. We did beat them in the under-21 final, though, and Lee Carrs is the man who did it. Lee Carrs is the man who did it. So if anyone's going to conquer the Spanish at the minute, it's England and Lee Carrs there. I would rather win the Euros than a 48-team World Cup. I genuinely think the Euros is a harder tournament than the World Cup. And I know many people will absolutely categorically disagree with me there, particularly people outside of Europe. But I think as a group of countries, the Euros is a stronger tournament than the World Cup, particularly with 48 teams in it. 48 countries is ridiculous, but personally, I never want international tournaments. Euro 2024 flew by, and every second of it, bar the England game. I mean, they do go. That's the frustrating thing. They go so bloody fast as well, don't they? We wait years for them, and then they go flying by. At least maybe the 48 team one will last a bit longer. I knew what you meant here. I knew exactly what you meant. I know you did want international tournaments. Bagani, I find out how weird it is when England score. The fans will celebrate like a riot in Euro 2020, 24 and World Cup 18. And then in 2022 World Cup, they celebrate like they are watching golf. Really? I mean, it's because everyone was sober. Steve Cooper, who won 5-2. Encore football, playing 3 tournaments in just 3 years made everyone play so cautiously, except Romania, Turkey and Austria. I mean, yeah, the Euro, everyone was knackered, weren't they? Everyone was absolutely knackered. But yeah, I just think, I mean, we can't win the Nations League, obviously, because we're not in League A. We're in League B. The next tournament, realistically, now is 4 years. The next tournament England can win is 4 years away, and that is, unless UEFA start playing about, it's going to be a home tournament. Now, we're looking at a triple final, the 3rd final in a row for England to reach the Euros final. Regardless of whether it's at home, that is a phenomenal ask. Phenomenal. I don't know, though, and I genuinely mean this now, look at the pain that could wait ahead, and I know I'm starting this really depressing here. The joy is that we could avenge the final from a few years back against Italy and win it. The other thing is we could lose 3 finals on the bounce, and 2 of them could have been at Wembley. Let's just take a moment of silence to acknowledge the pain that we would all be in. I mean, the suffering would be even greater than anything we have experienced as England fans before if we lost a 3rd European final on the bounce and the 2nd one out of those 3 at Wembley. I mean, I just don't even want to talk about it now. That would be, oh God, it'd be devastating. But that's why the joy's so good, isn't it? That's why the joy, because the pain, on the other hand, is so painful. But it's just clocked in my mind that if we lost the final at the next Euros, that would be the 2nd one we've lost at home and the 3rd on the bounce. That is beyond pain. The recent Euros and World Cup host since 2016 has left something to be desired. It just doesn't generate excitement like Euro 2024 or the World Cups. I mean, I don't know how old you are, Encore. I think you've said before, actually. So this may not apply to you if I remember correctly. But they do lose the buzz with age. I mean, even if, like, from your 20s to your 30s, even as an adult, as you get older, the tournaments do lose the buzz. Not as an England fan, like I still get behind it, but you take less of the old atmosphere on, I think, as an adult. Like as a child, you're buying like the sticker albums and playing FIFA and Football Manager, and I don't know, you're really invested in it for multiple different media outlets, whereas an adult, you might pick up a magazine a month before the tournament starts and obviously listen to the radio and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, so I'm no longer near close to 40 yet. I mean, yeah, but still, this is what I'm saying. I mean, I personally, from my perspective, I still feel like the whole atmosphere of the tournaments do change as you get older. Still buzz for it for England, but like I remember like watching tournaments when I was younger, where the host, and I used to read countless stuff on it as a kid, or even in my late teens, early 20s, really got into it. And I think I don't know, I feel like you lose a bit of that as you get older. I could be wrong. And there maybe is something in the fact that tournaments have lost the bit of the buzz. They have become a bit too corporate, really, haven't they? But I don't know. If we lose 3 finals in a row, I honestly don't know if I can survive any longer. To be honest, Josh, honestly, I mean, what am I going to do with this chat? I genuinely don't know what I'd do. I mean, I was so fed up after that Euros final loss, the second against Spain. I just thought, are we ever going to win anything? Like, I felt like smashing my computer room up, to be honest with you. I was so angry. I just think, why can we never get over the line? And again, Spain have gone even further ahead of us in trophy counts. And I was thinking it's another 4 years to, and it's just, yeah, I don't know myself really, mate. I mean, you move on, but you just think, come on, there's only so many kicks you can take, isn't there? And that's like 3 kicks of the balls. 2 lost finals at Wembley. Dear me, don't put that out in the universe. Don't put that out in the universe. I had to put it out. It just came to me then, mate. I'm just like, what the hell? This is what we could be all setting ourselves up for. Let's just enjoy ignorance is bliss. Ignorance is bliss. At the minute, we're all sat here thinking it's coming home in 4 years' time. If we're losing in 4 years' time, ignorance is currently bliss. We're not. We're going to win it. Encore football, the Olympics is bloated. Absolutely. I think breakdancing will be gone, won't it? Pagani, the annoying thing, what I hate about the World Cup being hosted in America is that the time England will play will be in the early morning. Yeah. I mean, the time difference. I mean, I do mind it, obviously, but I understand the need for it to go around the world and for other countries to host it and the time difference to be what it is. It just means I'm going to have to book more time off and annual leave. Nozza, losing gets easier as you get older. It does actually. Well, yeah, I suppose it does. I mean, the way some blokes behave at football matches, you wouldn't think that. Gate 102 podcast. If you don't win a tournament, then you want loads of great moments. We got loads of them in the summer. I mean, yeah. I mean, even though the summer was awful. I mean, it was really. In terms of how England played, it was dreadful. But laced with golden threads of pure bliss. It was the most bizarre tournament ever. The UK is at least 5 hours ahead of New York. Yeah, you're right, Gary, but we're not in the Barclays era of Premier League football anymore. Oh, hang on, that's gone pretty quick. Let me scroll back up to the chat. Before everyone wanted to be the new Pep. 3 Lions, think that's a fair assessment about growing older. Yeah, I do feel like something changes. You do invest in tournaments in a different way. I mean, the one thing I try and keep up is the war chart. Something, a bit of nostalgia I keep up as a kid that I try and keep going. But yeah, even that doesn't have the same buzz as what it does. And it does. It just, every year. Not that you don't get excited, you just don't get as invested in it. I threw my beer cup on the floor for both 2-1 and the final 4-time whistle. I was watching it in a house with my father-in-law, my brother-in-law, my partner, and a few other people. And as soon as the final whistle went, in my house, I stood up, turned the telly off, and walked out and left everyone there. Everyone was like, what the hell is going on? And I walked upstairs and didn't say a word to anybody. And everyone was like, everyone laughs about it now, but everyone was sat there thinking, and we're not watching it then. But yeah, I literally stood up, turned the TV off, and walked out. And I needed that minute. I needed that time. I was so disappointed. PJ three times the charm. Love it. That is the annoying thing. Thing that is annoying is even when we do win something, we're still playing catch up. As you said in the same preview, we should have at least 2 World Cups and 4 or 5 Euros for Nation of Ireland. Absolutely, mate. And that's what's annoying me. We're nowhere near the standard where we should be historically. That is exactly what I've been saying, and I'm glad you picked me back up on it again, because that's what's winding me up. Because what we win trophies, let's be honest, for the history books. That's why you win trophies, for the bragging rights, the history books. England are now way, way behind where we should be in relation to the rest of the continent. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. And it's at least 15, 20 years before we even went near. And that's us winning almost every tournament in that time. So it's just, I don't want to think about it. It gets me depressed. It's just so annoying. I think the kickoff time in 2026 will be 5 p.m, 8 p.m, 11 p.m, and 2 a.m. I mean, a sneaky 2 a.m. game if you book the next day off, getting a few of the lads round. I mean, that's nice, isn't it? That would feel a bit different, a bit special. I don't want every game to be 2 a.m, mind. Or even an 11 p.m. game won't be too bad, but the odd one. I mean, the other ones are all right, aren't they, after work? Robert, still nearly 2 years away, I get, but who do you think is going to be a dark horse in the World Cup 2026? I think Georgia will strike again. Uh, I don't know. I mean, maybe the US because of the appointment of a new coach, although I don't think Maurizio Pochettino's that good of a manager, really, and I don't think he suits international football. But Canada, maybe, playing at home, I think they're better than the US as a team. Maybe they're going to be. I don't know. I think it is too early to say, really. I think realising that international football is more about mentality than outright football ability, like club football, especially when even top teams have to pick mid-table players. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I know I did say earlier, actually, we're 4 years away from the tournament. I meant two, obviously. This is the World Cup and then the Euros. I was talking about the Euros. Josh Phillips, maybe because I'm still 18, but I absolutely love everything about football. I already can't wait for the World Cup. Every tournament that comes up, I get so excited for. Honestly, don't think it'll change for me. No, and good, mate. I hope it doesn't. But and I'm not saying I don't get buzzed for it. It just, you start to become a little bit more cynical about football as a whole. About, yeah, not to put a down on it. I'm putting a down on it, but yeah, you don't have that youthful enthusiasm. Is probably the best way I put it for the tournament as a whole. Don't get me wrong. I'm still exactly the same watching England in a tournament. When that final whistle comes on, and I'm so nervous when we score, it's the adrenaline, the buzz. I think for the rest of the tournament, though, even though I watch all the games, it just doesn't have that same feel. I'm not as invested in it as what I was previously. Warline Australia would be the perfect host, but never been given the chance. Yeah, I mean, it might be because it's got to go back out. Has it got to go that side of the world next? I think there might be a shout. It's just whether they're going to pay for it, isn't it? In the fan zone, the Spanish celebrated the win like they're happy, but they've seen all before. Exactly. You know, it means more to England fans. We've not seen it. It's just another tournament, isn't it, for them, though. Portugal won Euro 2016 by lumping Eder, who couldn't bag a goal for Swansea on the pitch and scored a winner from 30-odd. I mean, yeah, anything's possible. You don't have to be the best team to win a tournament, and I've always said that. Already starting to believe it's coming home in 2026. I'll never learn. None of us ever do, Josh. None of us ever do, mate. It is coming home. Warline 94, maybe 23 was a blueprint for them hosting the men's tournament. Encore football. Oh, yeah, because obviously there was the women's tournament. I was like you, Josh, when I was 18. Couldn't get enough of football, even though I only started watching properly at 14. Can't help but think Japan and Colombia are in the fight. Oh, and Croatia somehow always look like they are there. Matt's channel. We can learn from Argentina, who lost 2 Copa America finals on the bounce in the last decade. Yeah, I mean, this thing's happened in the past, but you think if there's any team in the history of football that then isn't going to develop and push on and win a tournament, it'll be England. Or if there's any team in the history of football to lose 3 finals on the bounce at the Euros, it would be England. These are the sorts of records England breaks, not the positive ones. But who knows? Things have changed over the past 10 years. When you learn about the shady deals of FIFA, UEFA, Bosman, the sponsors, and the owners involved, it makes you wonder about things outside of football. And mate, football's as bent as. Matt's channel, Encore Football, Japan still need to get the football quarters. They failed last time, but it wasn't a disaster. Yeah, I mean, look, the World Cup it's a long way away in the context of football. I think the big question for England and Lee Carsley now is, and I think it will be Lee Carsley, is that striker's position. There's no doubt there's even more talent coming through. There's so much talent in this England squad. I mean, there's not a generation going to be wasted here, because I think there's just the same generation coming through again. I think England for the next 10 years are going to have an abundance of talent. It's what he does with them. But you're looking at, Bellingham in a couple of years, Palmer in a couple of years, Foden in a couple of years. You're just then looking at certain areas you think we need another goalkeeper coming through. Hopefully Pickford maybe still be around. Well, he will be. Kane now. And I know players, and he said it and he's right, players tend to play more into the late 30s now, particularly the top class players. But they're not quite at that same level, are they? So, I don't know. I think it's optimistic to say that Harry Kane should be leading our line at the World Cup, personally, but who knows? Who knows? The question, which players do you think should be guaranteed a place in the next squad based on what you've seen so far? Well, Ollie Watkins, Gordon, I think pretty much what he chose the last time out. Yeah, pretty. I'm trying to think who he missed out last time, who I think should be coming back in. There's no one really jumping out. He's pretty much as you were, really. Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of weeks left, isn't there? Would you take Pope or Henderson as a second choice goalkeeper? I don't know. I mean, I don't like Pope. I really don't like Pope with the ball at his feet. I just don't think he's anywhere near good enough for England. I just think, I've said it before, outside of Pickford, we're miles behind on goalkeepers. Kane, Saka, Palmer, Grealish, Trent, Gordon, etc. Just not Rashford. Yeah, I mean, exactly what I said. It's the squad before. I don't think anyone's pushing to come back in. I wonder if Carsley got the balls to drop any of the big names. I mean, none of the big names necessarily need dropping. He already has in some ways. You know, Kyle Walker didn't get called up, did he, in the last squad? Harvey Barnes has had a good start to the season, but don't know who he would come in for. Yeah, I mean, he has had a good start. It's just, yeah, it's a difficult one. It's still that transition period thing that I'm really racking my brain here, thinking who wasn't in the last squad that I'd like to see come in. I mean, Russell's put Wharton. Was Wharton injured for the last squad? I didn't really look into that, but obviously Southgate took him. I still think, Gomez was so good. I mean, I'll be honest with you, the one player I want to see back on this squad is Gomez. I thought he was quality. Absolutely quality. But I would like to see Wharton actually play for England. I mean, I'll be honest with you, because I don't go and watch Palace. And I don't particularly, I mean, how often a Palace on TV? I've not really seen much, if anything, of Wharton. So I'd like to see Wharton. I mean, what is all the fuss about? Let's give him a go. And that central midfield area in particular is still the area of the pitch where we need to do more, don't we? We need those other players to come through. So, yeah, I think for me, I'd definitely like to see Gomez come back in. I think the one player who is interesting, who it was all over TalkSport, a lot of debates, is Ben White. Apparently, it's a bit of a difficult one. He was asked about this directly, and Lee Carsey said the last he heard, and obviously he's referring to the stuff with Gareth Southgate, the last he heard was that Ben White didn't want to be contacted. Whether that's going to change, whether that does change, whether it should change, should Ben White come in? I mean, he arguably would, wouldn't he? He's playing well. He's realistically now, we do probably need some new right backs coming through. He can play centre back as well. For me, I wouldn't call him back up. I wouldn't be picking the phone up. Lee Carsey will obviously know what on earth went off between him and Gareth Southgate and Steve Holland by the sounds of it. But I don't know. I think it's a tricky one, that one. Encore Football, definitely not Ben White, with the endless rumours about why he isn't available. Well, yeah, I did see what he said then. Okay. I mean, I would agree. I think, is he a bit of a troublemaker? I don't know. Bit of a drama queen. Gate 102, Gareth was raving about Wharton when he picked him. I was at the Bosnia game and he looked sensational in 30-minute cameo. Yeah, no, he did. No, dropped under 21, then was injured for that. Yeah, he did. I remember seeing him in the under 21s, yeah. I mean, it's interesting, wasn't it? A big swap. Gomez coming in and Wharton going into the under 21s. Interesting how Lee Carsley bypassed him and put him. Yeah, I don't know. It is interesting. Next matches in October and December. Draw of qualifiers to North America 2026. Absolutely. We've just missed that talk earlier. I mean, we will be, as we get towards later on in the year, we'll have a look at these World Cup groups and start to have a look at who we want. And I will do a live stream, depending on when it is, of the draw as well. So we've all got that to come forward to. We love a good draw, don't we? We all love a good draw. It's always interesting to see who you're going to get. I'm convinced Wharton is going to be World Cup class in the future. I don't necessarily, says Josh, I mean, yeah, it's fair enough. Let's see him play then. I don't necessarily think this should be over for Walker, but there's no point playing him for Lee B at his age. No, I agree. Encore Football, I'm not keen on Walker. Ben White, no, says Nozza. Three Lions, TalkSport will do their best to be spiteful to anyone. Until we know the full story, can't make the choice on Ben White. Yeah, I do agree with that. There is obviously two sides to every story. You just don't feel like, given the way England have been over the past however many years it was now that Southgate and Steve Holland were in charge, you probably don't feel the problem lies with them, because they've clearly managed players, and a lot of them, well over the years. And there's never really been any other troubles with any other player. So you feel like the only denominator there is then Ben White. But obviously we don't know the full story, do we? We really don't. Yes, I wish we win World Cup in North America. I think Walker's time for England is probably over now. Really better to give Trent more chances now. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm not a big Trent fan. Not a big Trent fan in an England shirt. He was phenomenal, though, wasn't it? He was phenomenal. Him and Gomez, I think, really came out strong in those last two internationals. He still looked a little bit weak at the back. I still think there's times when I just feel like, but he's passing. The chances he creates, he is that creative spark. He's the person with that ball that unlocks the defence. And yeah, I mean, there's no doubt Lee Carr. I mean, it says a lot, doesn't it? There's already a massive change. Lee Carr's is just like, I can't believe Gareth, you've not been playing him. He's come straight in, bringing him in, bringing Gomez in. So it's just like Carsley seriously sees the value in Trent. He seriously sees the value in him. So I think Trent's going to be a key figure for Carsley moving forward. Irish play very bad. Yeah, mate, they were terrible. Absolutely terrible. Trent's like Joshua Kimmich in the sense of not being good defensively. They are best at centre mid and right wing back. Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt he did play really, really well, and there's no doubt he was our probably key creative spark. He really was. The passes were just unbelievable. The positives of Trent out the way, and the negatives, but I still wouldn't trust him in a massive knockout game, and that's the point. Gate 102, isn't it? And that is sort of the point. But Lee Carsley, and I know I said. He was more offensive at the under-21s, but like I've said before, and I think everyone would agree with this, under-21s and youth football tends to lend itself to play more attacking football anyway, but England probably do look a slightly more offensive and less defensive-minded than what they were under Gareth Southgate. I mean, he didn't massively change the system hugely. I mean, he did, but in terms of it wasn't like ripping up the rule book and starting afresh. But we were clearly a lot more offensive-minded. So maybe he's just going to throw caution to the wind and arguably play the way you probably suggest we should play, given the attacking talent we've got in terms of attack is the best form of defence for us, because we should be having plenty for other teams to worry about. What about White Gibbs? Morgan Gibbs-White, do you mean? Yeah, I mean, yeah, he scored a good goal, didn't he, this weekend? Possibly. Flick, the new era of FC Barcelona winning the Spanish League. For me, you can only have one Trent or Rico in the back foot. I mean, Rico, I've not mentioned Rico, and he sort of, and he does for Man City, really. He sort of goes through, unnoticed. But, yeah, you can't really moan at him, neither. He had a really good game as well and looked lively when he came on and looked a good player. Are we saying anything on the next two games? Yeah, I mean in terms of the next two games, look, England against Greece, it should be comfortable, shouldn't it, at Wembley? It should really, really be comfortable. We know what the England-Finland game is going to be like. It's just going to be about how we break them down. Greece have looked, they are above us, I think. Are they above us in the league? I think they might be. Or are we above them? At the end of the day, it's us and Greece at the top. Joint on points. It's goal difference that separates us. But so the Greece game is based on results anyway. The toughest game now of this group. So a win at Wembley will, like I said, it will see us through. But I just don't see Greece doing anything to upset us, really. I just expect more of the same for England against Greece and Finland again. Guardiola or Flick says Torvier. Tino's more of a right back. Lewis Hall for Newcastle as a player I am keen on. We are light in numbers at left back, and he got man of the match for the 21s last game. Yeah. And this is the thing, though. They'll not be scared of putting youth players into the senior squad. I mean, he's done it straight away, hasn't he? So let's see what they can do. Being ahead on goal difference might add it to Greece's motivation. Grealish is backing the national team, help team winning the World Cup and champions with City. The thing is that, I mean, I know he scored against Ireland, so this is sort of going against what I'm going to say. Grealish, Foden, who else is in that list? Well, Gordon now is playing. All those players, Rashford if he's in there, most anyone else who's basically playing on the opposite side to Saka, there's not enough goals and assists. There's not enough. They need to start coming good with goals and assists, so it's good. that other players are getting on the score sheet, but there's just not enough goals in this England team, and I've said it before, outside of Kane and Saka. And this is where Foden and Grealish in particular, as a senior, probably attacking players, need to come good. They really do. I mean, Bellingham as well. There needs to be more goals from other players. I've got a feeling Greece will do an Iceland on us. They seem to be England's kryptonite now, mate. We'll be absolutely fine. At Wembley, I mean, I'm not going to give my score prediction. As you know, I'll do a video, a preview video, breaking the team down, looking at our past records, giving my score prediction. But I mean, it's not a surprise, is it, that I'm saying I expect us to beat Greece? It really isn't. But England looks strong. We look very, very strong. The Nations League, next 2 games, win those. It's done. You would assume we're going to top the group, exactly what we should be doing. Arguably then Carsley gets the job. Will he get the job before Christmas, officially? I don't know. Will he get the job before the World Cup draw? I don't know. I just think that they've already made their mind up. I mean, England's next game. So, I mean, it's a month. There's a month now. So there's October 13th, 10th, and then a month later, England then are back in November, Greece and Ireland at home. So you'd assume after the 17th of November, which is when we play Ireland at home, our last group game of the Nations League, you would assume England have made a permanent appointment. You would presume that anyway, and I would expect that, really. They need to just crack on with it, really. England match is very easy to next year's of League A. Well, yeah. I mean, we just need to get back in League A. It's a joke that we're in League B. I mean, I always think it's hilarious that the first year they did it, remember, there was 3 teams in the group, and I think Germany and a few other teams got relegated. Then UEFA thought, we'll just change the rules now, because they didn't want all the big teams being relegated into League B. So they changed the rules, made 4 teams in League A, and kept everyone who was originally relegated in League A. And the moment England get relegated, oh no, it's going to stay the same now. So yeah, it is what it is. It was a new tournament at the time. But yeah, we need to get back in League A. And there is that argument where, yes, we're going to win these games, we're going to win them comfortably. There's still games and you can only beat what's in front of you. But at the same time, are we better? Would we have been better playing Spain, France, Italy, Germany, all these sorts of teams in preparation for the World Cup? Yes and no. We're 2 years away, long time away. So I wouldn't argue if we were playing Spain this month that it would have much of an impact on the World Cup in 2 years' time. But the more times you play top opposition, the more times you can judge and give yourself a yardstick of where you're at and build from that, rather than building from battering Ireland in their own backyard. So there's flip sides to everything, isn't there? But I mean, I'm looking at the timer. We've been on 1 hour and 10 minutes. It seems like the stream's gone really well tonight in terms of my Wi-Fi, which has been brilliant because I was worried that had completely gone. But it's been a good chat. I mean, I don't think I've stopped talking since I've come on, and I hope you guys like the fact that I've been able to get the chat in on screen this time around. So each week I'm trying to upgrade things. I've had to play around with my lights as well, so I can have them a bit darker or lighter, whatever. So I'm always trying to improve things. I am going to start to have a look maybe of us doing a quiz as well. I've said that before. And then I am working on a special video. So the way I want to do this, rather than putting meaningless videos out between games, I'm probably not going to upload regular videos in terms of the ones that go on my normal channel often. Rather, I'm going to do fewer, but the fewer I do are going to be more special. So I am working on a special episode, 20 to 30 minutes long video about why England can't win a tournament or a trophy. So look forward to that. I need this pot off and I need to be able to get to Wembley and do some filming around there and stuff like that. But that's the way I would sort of want to take the channel, rather than trying to think up of 5-6 minute long videos in the meantime that people aren't particularly interested in. I want to tie it in with more evergreen content, if you like, that people can watch at all times. And then I use these live streams just to keep up to date with everybody and keep the channel going on that aspect. So the pressure's off then in terms of making a video once a week or once, a couple a month or something. I can just knock out more bigger special episodes and then do the live streams in between, but then obviously cover the games when they come about, when obviously people are really interested. So that's the way and vision I've got for the channel moving forward. Again, if you're new here, if you've been in the chat and you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. The target is 3,000. We've stalled over the past few months, actually, well, a couple of months since the Euros have ended. So anyone watching, if you've enjoyed this content, and if you're in here, please share it with your friends. Matt's channel, the quiz can go down well. Yeah, absolutely, mate. I am going to look at seeing if we can make it quite interactive as well, using some websites and some links. So leave that with me. I'll definitely want to get something set up there. I've got some ideas. Yeah, maybe we do a quiz once a month or something. Have you thought more about a Discord server, Gary? I have. It's just, I think that the problem I've got is I don't want to set something up and not have the content for it. I do want to do it, and I want to be able to put more content out there. I'm just trying to get my head around how I keep doing these videos now on a regular basis. I want to keep doing these live streams. I do want another stream though, not another stream, live stream. I mean another social that people can interact together on and with me. So yeah, watch this space. I mean, Josh, I think you said you'd give me an hand anyway, didn't you, mate? If wanted a hand with the Discord, so maybe that's something you can do. But because Discord's very complicated. Yeah, it looks it anyway. But yeah, let me know. Let me know if you're going to be at the game. Obviously, back again next Sunday live stream. So join me here every single Sunday, 7:30. Again, please like, share, subscribe, let your mates know about it. Join me every single week but it's 8:45 now, so I think we've had a good session. I hope you all have a fantastic week. Hope you all have a fantastic weekend, fantastic week at work, fantastic week at school, whatever it is you're doing. I will see you all next Sunday, and who knows what's going to develop in 7 days' time, because a lot changes, doesn't it, in football. But next week we'll start to keep, having a closer look at these next set of fixtures. And I tell you what, let's start to have a look at this World Cup in terms of the venues, the locations, and possibly let's see what information I can get about the World Cup drawing in advance. But thank you all so much for joining me. Gate 102, no problem at all. Thank you so much for joining me. Josh, no problem at all. Like I said, have a good week. See you all later. Thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you all on my next video.